Life is life, and y'all, and it's hitting everybody, even the rich folks. So don't think they're on the loose because big brands, big companies that have been here for years, for decades, are going bankrupt. And I feel like we've seen a lot of bankruptcies as of late. A lot of them have to do with financing, restructuring their company, their finances, and or just going out of business and all because the customers are not there. Like there's so much that is going on right now when it comes to companies. And listen, we heard Forever 21 bankruptcy for a while, but there are so many brands from early late. I know look, I know bankruptcy happens all the time and it's not an anomaly right now, but post COVID things are just not financing right, or there has been a lot of mismanagement when it comes to finances throughout the years, and just COVID just interrupted everything and just made everything completely worse. So let's get into this because Saks Fifth Avenue filed for bankruptcy. And this is big because you guys know Saks as like one of the largest retailers in the States. So let's go ahead and read what BBC has published. This was like a couple of days ago, like 3 days ago, that this came out. So you guys know at Saks Fifth Avenue, as in like it holds a lot of luxury brands like Balenciaga, Burberry, Chanel, all of those high-end brands. So basically, BBC gave a story of how this one lady went up to the second floor of Saks Fifth in, I think, Manhattan, New York, and she asked for a specific fragrance. And the employee said everything is out of stock: candles, diffusers, everything. And the customer couldn't believe it. Like, how can every single thing be out of stock? Well, Saks Global, which owns Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as it struggles to shore up its finances, leaving big questions amongst shoppers, vendors, and investors about the retailer's future. This company said it secured $1.75 billion or 1.3 billion euros in financing from a group of investors led by Bracebridge Capital and Pentwater Capital, which will allow it to keep stores open during the bankruptcy proceedings. Saks have been plagued by worsening financial woes since Saks Fifth Avenue's parent company acquired Neiman Marcus in 2024 to create the luxury retail giant. Wow, that was recent. That was like, well, now it's 2 years ago. That's crazy. Executives had argued Executives have argued the $2.7 billion deal would cut costs and bolster the brands. The department stores had already been under strain amid growing debt burdens and the shifting shopping habits that benefited e-commerce rivals. Saks Fifth Avenue began reporting double-digit quarterly sales decline in early 23. Girl, y'all, I tell you, something shifted in 2023. And I realized that so much. And it's just every time I'm hearing the news and they're going back on 2020, a lot of people, I mean, a lot of news now, they're not really talking about 2020 pandemic because they know, a lot of companies got hit or boosted in 2020, well, got hit first, then boosted. But a lot of them after that are just talking about 2023 because for some reason, that's when a lot of debt started to accumulate again. That's when finances started to dwindle down and, the free money started to dry up. So 2023 was when a lot of people just reel back their finances. I know in the creator field, 2023 was when a lot of brands started not to give bigger budgets and started to, not even complete contracts, because I had one contract that was one of my biggest contracts and it didn't fully go through because of all of these financial burdens that were going on and a lot of people were not purchasing. So they were not advertising much in 2023. So I feel like they were just being very cautious on where they were putting their marketing money. but definitely noticed a lot in 2023. It says, but the touted debts of the acquisition did not materialize. Saks failed to make a $100 million interest payment to creditors due in late December, tied to roughly $2.7 billion of debt that it took on to fund the merger. The missed deadline came as soon as Saks continued to draw frustration from its vendors who had bemoaned month-long payment delays, and many of whom have halted shipments of their product. Saks did not respond to requests for comments on inventory shortages and its plan to pay vendors. So this is crazy because we always think, oh, big companies, they're paying right. We need to go strive to be in these stores. We need to go strive to have partnership with these companies. But a lot of the times, as we can see on the back end, it is totally different. And I don't know if all retailers are like that, but a lot of time it's very expensive to get into these stores on the shelves. And then when they have trouble going on, they're just not going to pay you. They're just not going to pay. And it's so sad because, like, how you going to take our stuff and not pay? This is why I don't like the financial structure of how companies and like, not brick and mortar, but big department stores work. It's like, okay, I take your products and you bill me later type of deal. And everything is going off of the trust of the name of the company, the name of the brand, what that it holds water. And when things like this happen and they're in financial woes, it's just very tragic to the companies that sign contracts with them, because a lot of the time the contracts are terminated and everybody is in the loss while this brand is trying to recoup. Meanwhile, they're over here paying their CEOs and head of whatever, head of this, billions of dollars, to where y'all know y'all could just not pay them that much and just give it to the people that actually are making your brands, your stores stay open. But it's just a weird concept to me that they rather put so much money towards CEO packages than to the actual brands who are running. It's just so weird to me. But let's keep on going to see. The company's former chief executive, Mark Metrick, resigned abruptly from the firm in early January. He was placed by Richard Barker, Saks executive chairman, who had led the Neiman Marcus deal. In yet another leadership shakeup, the company said Barker will step down. Wow. A restructuring process at Saks Global, which also owns Bergdorf Goodman, does not necessarily mean its stores will soon shutter. But retail analysts and longtime vendors question whether the company can regain its footing after strategic missteps tied to the acquisition just over a year ago. The retail giant has in recent months tried to raise cash. It sold assets, including a Beverly Hills property. Wow. That's crazy. And it just shows you everything that glitters is not gold, to be honest, because now all of these companies who are in debt on their end because they're trying to finance these shipments to Saks, and Saks over here in debt themselves, and like, yo, we can't pay you for it. Like, it's just a domino effect, and it's just truly sad on how we put so much emphasis and so much prestige on big brands and big companies, and we don't even know if they even have people on the back end that are actually financially literate to run companies. A lot of the times, a lot of these CEOs you see, it's just in and out, in and out, in and out. I feel like nowadays they're just in to get their little package, to get their little money and run. And what does that do for companies like this in the long run? It slowly makes them crumble, slowly makes them not be able to sustain themselves financially. And it's just such a sad story, especially for brands that work with them, brands that work so hard and just have these long, trustworthy partnerships with them. So it's very interesting that they filed for Chapter 11 A lot of the time, Chapter 11 bankruptcy just basically means like they're going to try to restructure their finances and try to, weed out things that they don't need to be paying for. So they could recoup some type of money to keep it going. But a lot of the times, once you file for Chapter 11 the first time, it's just a downhill spiral. What? Down spiral. You know what I mean? It just goes downhill because this basically means for a certain period of time, your finances were not in order. And it's just a trickle down effect, to be honest. So let's go ahead and look at some TikToks to see what these creators have to say about this because, like, we're seeing big companies from every angle being shut down. Like, what? It's just very shocking because we, as the small companies or the small people, we look up to these companies, right? We look up to them and be like, okay, we want to be like them. We want to have a big company that's flourishing like them. And these companies are over here looking like we can't pay our bills. There are so many companies that can't pay rent, can't pay light bills, or just choose not to. It's very, very confusing.
Okay, so what is actually happening with SAGs and why does this matter? I work in the luxury space and here's some quick context. So SAGs Global, which includes Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, and Bergdorf, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. They're still operating their stores, but they are restructuring their debt. And here's the part that really matters and what's really grabbing headlines. Several major brands like Chanel, LVMH, and Kering brands are listed as unsecured creditors, meaning that product has been delivered, but payment hasn't happened yet. But this tells us that luxury brands are essentially quietly financing retailers, and department stores aren't automatically the safest place to be launching or scaling the way that they used to be, posing a very challenging environment, especially for startup and niche brands. This also accelerates a shift that we're already seeing, more direct to consumer, more concessions, and brands being far more selective about who they partner with and really playing the long game. And honestly, as a consumer and a merchant, it just felt like Saks has lacked a clear point of view in their product assortment. In a market this competitive, you really need a real reason for someone to shop you. One can argue there's a lot of product, but not enough clarity, and newness didn't feel strong or consistent, and pricing felt very crowded in the middle, which made it very easy for customers to pause or walk away. And don't even get me started on all the discounting and the promotions. At the core of it all, shopping is an emotional experience. When business gets tough, what do buyers do? They naturally pull back and play it safe and lean into more commercial items. But when everyone does that, novelty disappears, assortments blur, and that emotional pull for a consumer is gone. In my opinion, to really stand out right now, retailers need sharper editing, clearer storytelling, and more conviction in what they buy. Having more isn't the advantage, the complexity is, and having a clear point of view.
I don't know if I agree with her with the ending because I feel like nowadays we're all just overwhelmed. Yeah, at the end, she said it's not about having as many products as the next person, but I don't know if messaging and clear brand, whatever, I don't think that really will get people back into those department stores. What will it? I don't know exactly, but I think a lot of people are just tired of shopping, tired of the constant purchasing, tired of clutter, tired of sales all the time and then just products being pushed in their face. So I feel as though people just need a break. Will shopping ever go out of style? Absolutely not. People will always shop for anything that they need. But when it comes to the non essentials like clothes, we have enough clothes, right? They're non-essentials right now because there are such an excess of them. You could go to the thrift store and there are so many clothes. We as Haitians always send clothes back to Haiti all the time. There's always excess of certain items. So I don't know exactly if like brand recognition or just, knowing your core audience. I just think people just need a break. And after the whole boom of consumerism with COVID and post COVID, I think people are just sick and tired and sick and tired. And that's really affecting these big companies because these big companies, they cannot afford us to not shop, right? Their model is always continual growth. I think that's the problem, right? There we go. I think the problem is having a structure, a business model that you're always growing no matter what. Where there are times when growth is not is just not there, so during the time growth is not there, there needs to be another outlet for companies like that to still make some type of income or just to sustain themselves up until growth comes back into play. Because if you sit and think about life, things don't just grow and nonstop growing. If that was the case, we will have mountains way taller than what we have now. We will have trees way taller than what we have now. People will be as way bigger than they are now. You understand? Things break, things stop. There's seasons of everything. And I feel like in this capitalist society, they don't really put in any margins or wiggle room for that lack of people purchasing and stuff like that. So I think companies need to be realistic with themselves and have some type of model where it's not just continuous growth. And it's kind of hard right now because a lot of these companies are on Wall Street. They do have stocks, they do have investors, and investors want their money back somehow. So there just has to be another way to where, I guess, foot traffic in these stores or purchasing online is not the end all be all for them. I know a lot of these companies do diversify, their portfolio and have different outlets in order for them to get some money back. But I feel as though people are just tired, to be honest. People are just tired of shopping. And then they see the climate, the financial climate right now, and it just makes them not want to shop even further because the uncertainty of their jobs with AI, with job cuts, the increased cost of living, the overconcession of just multiple things, just a slightly different color, a slightly different material, a slightly different feel, a slightly different, the same things, just a little bit different in order for you to buy. It's just too much. And I feel like post 2020, a lot of these companies are going to start filing for Chapter 11 in order for them to keep afloat. Is it going to help? I don't know. But I think people are just tired of shopping. It doesn't have anything to do with, oh, Saks don't know their audience. They probably still don't know their audience, but they're not the only brands that are filing, and they're not the only brands that are getting hit with losses right now.
Hey Sax, I'm a small female-founded independent brand. I would love for you to come check out my stuff. Ooh, we love it. Let's place an order for 1,000 pieces. Oh my God, it's a dream come true for me to be in Saks. Do you think you could give me a deposit so that I could use that money to pay the factory to make the stuff for you? No, that's not how it works. Sorry. You deliver the stuff to us and we will pay you 90 days later. Ooh, that means I have to front the money to pay the factory? Yup, that's how it works in the big leagues. Are you in or not? Okay, well, it's been 90 days, so can I get paid now? Actually, we're having a little bit of an issue, so can you wait another 30 days? I guess I don't really have a choice, but I need that money to pay my team, my office rent, and to fill in for the money that I already paid the factory for this order. You know, that sounds like a you problem and not a me problem. Hey, it's been another 30 days. What's the deal? Ooh, I'm so sorry. We're having a little bit of issues right now, but don't worry, we'll get it all sorted out. Okay, but I just saw on the news that you bought Neiman Marcus for over $2 billion, so
That part.
you guys have money. Yeah, that was buying business money, not paying you money. Hey Sax, it's been another 60 days that I've been waiting to get paid. It's been almost half a year now. You took my stuff, you sold my stuff, so you have to have money for me, right? Yeah, actually we did sell your stuff and it did sell really well, but we used that money to actually pay somebody else more important than you. Well, now I'm really struggling because I was counting on that money to keep my business going and you guys have been giving me the runaround for so long. And now I hear that you guys are gonna file for bankruptcy. What does that mean for me? Am I never gonna get paid? We love supporting young designers like you. You know, we bring your stuff into the store, we sell it for you, we give you all this exposure. This bankruptcy stuff, it just means that you might be getting maybe 0, maybe 10% of what we owe you. Okay, well, I thought selling to a big department store was like always my dream, but this is a real nightmare. Oh, don't worry, honey, it only gets worse from here. You're a small brand, you can't afford to hire lawyers, you can't afford to hire collectors, so you know what? I think you should just write this off for now. P.S. We're really sorry if your business goes under because of us. Oops.
And that's the reality. Like, she did such a good job with this video because that's the reality a lot of people are in. And I've heard this so many times when it comes to business owners. I literally just spoke to a friend of mine last night who was telling me about some of the bureaucracies he has to go through in order for him to work with certain big brands when it comes to his business. And he's not a content creator, or he doesn't sell any like merch or anything. You know, his is on a service base. So I hear this all the time, and we still glorify, we still pedestalize when we are having these partnerships with these brands. Now, it's one thing if there's like certain partnerships, it doesn't, there's no loss in your on your side, you know. But these partnerships where you literally have to foot all of the finance up front in order for you to be in their department store, in their presence, whatever the case is. And this 30, 60, 90 days net gets on my nerves. And it's the same way when it comes to the entertainment business, when it comes to content creating as well. A lot of these companies, these big companies, they give you your money like 30, 60 days after it's done. And I just feel like that is just so unprofessional, because if I were not to produce what I wanted, what was told to produce, it would look unprofessional on my side. They would probably blacklist my name, my company, and all that. But yet, they can get away with not paying small creators, small brands all they want, and they know the creator, the brands are not going to be able to do anything because, like she said, you don't have the money to go against their big power lawyers, and you don't have the resources in order for you to get your money back. You can't go to collection, you can't do this. Even if you try, a lot of the times in their small print when you sign that contract, like, it just forbids you to do a lot of things that you will be able to do to protect on your side. So it's so frustrating. And that's why I said earlier, I really feel for those who are small brands who felt like this was going to be their bread and butter, the end all be all, because it's such a big name, it's such a prestige company, it's such a legacy company. Like, why wouldn't you take care of your little people? Why wouldn't you take care of the people that makes you the people that allows you to have those lights on, the people that allows you to employ your employees? Why wouldn't you? But like she said, they go buy property like we read in the news, buy Beverly Hills property, buy big acquisitions. They go and pay other companies money, company that I'm pretty sure they have better relationship with, and they just flick the little people away, and it's so sad, but that's just a reality. So don't glorify everything when it comes to these big companies. Oh, the creator is actually really going through this because she says, OMG, no, I'm so sorry. It's really messed up because there's nothing a small brand can do about it. I'm heartbroken for you. We barely scraped through a bunch of these over the last 10 years. Someone said they literally created their own pyramid scheme to stay afloat. Being able to say your products are being sold in big name brands give a lot of street cred to borrow money to consumers, and it is a great branding thing. But wow, can it really cost you? Agreed. I think that's why some brands still do it. Also, not many places can give you big orders like a department store can, but you run the risk of not getting paid. That is crazy. So, this is so common. They're scamming sellers and also customers with their fraudulent return policy. JCPenney basically bankrupted my brand like this. Crazy. Yeah, I actually used to work in JCPenney, and it was so weird because we're in the same building as Sears, and everything was just dead. Everything was just dead. I don't even know if JCPenney is still afloat, but JCPenney had done so many reconstructing and bankruptcies, I think, multiple bankruptcies. I don't even know if it's still going strong or what's going on with JCPenney. But yeah, big brand stores are doing this left and right. This is so true. It's better to go direct to consumer rather than lose all your money. Yeah. Yeah, it's good for exposure and all, but a lot of the time nowadays, customers don't even go to a lot of these, especially the younger consumers, they're not going to these big box brands. They rather just go to like Shein or Fashion Nova or Zara, H&M, and stuff like that. But the ones who have more money, yeah, they still go to Saks. But what does their the thing about these brands is their buyers are lame. Like the people who are buying for the stores, it's just boring. So a lot of really nice things, they just independent brand owners are the ones who creating really creative things, and the big store names who are the big brand names, they're just creating safe safe things. All right, guys. So let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys going directly to brands? I have definitely made sure when I purchase something, I go directly to the brand to the point where, like, I don't even shop at Sephora anymore because if I want something, like I said, I go directly to the brand's website because me as a business owner, I know how it feels to have to pay another platform a percentage in order for them to hold our stuff. Yes, you could get a lot of new customers, new clients that way, but it's a big chunk of money. So if you guys want to support your favorite brands, just go directly to the site and purchase it from them. I know there are some who don't have brick and mortar stores, so it's best to just do it online than to go to these third parties because a lot of the times they're getting pennies back compared to if they were going to sell it directly to you guys. So I think I want to do a part two because there are still some more TikToks I want to look at that seems very interesting. So stay tuned for part two and we will talk about this a little bit more.